Captain Elena Voss pressed her back against the cold metal wall. Blood dripped from her shoulder where the plasma bolt had burned through her armor. She could hear them outside, their clicking language echoing through the dead hallways of the colony ship Remembrance. The Jothic hunters were getting closer. She looked down at her rifle. 5 shots left. Maybe 6 if she was lucky. There were at least 20 of them out there. The math was simple and cruel. Elena had been running for 3 years. She was the last one. The last human alive in a galaxy that had decided her species needed to die. Earth had fallen first, burned to glass by the Dominion fleet. Then the colonies one by one over 200 years of desperate war. 47 worlds that once held billions of humans. Now there was just her. She laughed, but it came out as a cough. The air was thin here in the old ship. The Remembrance had been a colony vessel once, carrying 10,000 sleeping families to a new world. That was 300 years ago. Now it was her tomb. The clicking sound stopped. They were preparing for their final attack. Elena used the moment to check her datapad one last time. She had spent weeks preparing this. Everything humanity had ever been was stored in this small device. Music, art, stories, history, all of it. The good and the bad, the beautiful and the ugly. All of human existence compressed into data. She attached the pad to the old ship's communication system. With shaking fingers, she set it to broadcast on all frequencies. Deep space, emergency channels, everything. Let the galaxy know that humans had existed. Let them know what was lost. Elena started recording her final message. My name is Captain Elena Voss. I am human. I am the last human. If anyone finds this, know that we were here. We loved, we dreamed. We built civilizations and wrote poetry. We reached for the stars because we refused to accept that this was all there was. The Jothic Dominion decided we were a threat. Maybe we were. Maybe they were right to fear us. But they should have feared what we stood for, not what we could build. We believed every thinking being deserved freedom. We believed in second chances. We believed tomorrow could be better than today. Those ideas are more dangerous than any weapon. I hope someone somewhere remembers us. I hope our ideals survive even if we don't. This is Captain Elena Voss, last of humanity, signing off. She hit send. The message launched into space, spreading in all directions. It would take years to reach the nearest systems. Decades to reach the far edges of known space. But it would get there. Humanity would not be forgotten. The door exploded inward. Elena raised her rifle and fired. One Jothic fell, then another. She rolled behind cover as plasma bolts turned the air into fire. Her arm burned. Her leg went numb. But she kept shooting. 3 more fell, 4. She was out of ammunition. Elena drew her knife, the only thing she had left from Earth. It had belonged to her grandfather, who had belonged to the first colony wave. The blade was old steel, ancient technology, but it was sharp. The Jothic warrior rushed her. She sidestepped and drove the knife into its throat. It fell, making that terrible clicking sound they made when they died. Another came. She fought with everything she had. No training, no technique, just pure human stubbornness. More came. Too many. Elena felt something pierce her chest. She looked down and saw the plasma blade sticking through her armor. Strange, it didn't hurt as much as she thought it would. She fell to her knees. The Jothic stood around her, their 4 eyes watching as she died. She wanted to say something defiant, something worthy of humanity's last words. But she was so tired. Elena Voss, last human in the galaxy, closed her eyes and died. The Jothic commander sent a message across the Dominion networks. The human threat is eliminated. The galaxy is clean. Across 1,000 worlds, the 6 species of the Dominion celebrated. Humanity, the species that had refused to accept their place, that had fought for 2 centuries against impossible odds, was extinct. Finally, there would be peace. But the commander made a mistake. In his report, he mentioned the data transmission. He mentioned the humans' final message spreading across space. Some in the Dominion wanted to stop it, to catch and destroy every copy. But space was too big and the message was already too far gone. Deep in the forgotten edges of explored space, on a moon that appeared on no modern star charts, something stirred. The moon was dead, its surface covered in dust that had not moved in 600 years. But beneath that dust, buried in reinforced chambers, machines that had slept for centuries suddenly activated. Emergency protocols engaged. Red lights pulsed in the darkness. Systems that had been dormant longer than most civilizations had existed began to wake. Stasis pods, 500 of them, arranged in perfect rows in a massive underground chamber, started their revival sequences. Frost melted from glass surfaces. Chemicals flowed through tubes. Hearts that had not beaten in 6 centuries began to pump again. Lungs filled with air. Brains, preserved in perfect suspension, sparked back to life. The facility's damaged artificial intelligence, known only as Mother, accessed its emergency files. It had been programmed to wake its charges if humanity faced extinction. For 600 years it had waited. Now finally the protocols were clear. In the first pod, a man's eyes opened. He took a breath, his first in 600 years. His name was Darius Kane, and he was a weapon. A super soldier. One of 500 created to be humanity's ultimate protectors. He did not know yet that he had failed. He did not know that everyone he had sworn to protect was dead. He did not know that he and his fellow soldiers were about to inherit a terrible burden, but he would learn. And when he did, the galaxy would learn something too. Humanity might be dead, but its weapons had just woken up. And they were very, very angry. Darius Kane's first thought was confusion. His second was pain. Every muscle in his body screamed as frozen tissue came back to life. He tried to move and found himself trapped in something. Glass. He was in a glass pod filled with thick liquid. A mechanical voice spoke in the darkness. Revival sequence complete. Welcome back, Major Kane. Please remain calm. The pod will open in 10 seconds. 10 seconds felt like forever. Kane's mind raced, trying to remember. He had been at the facility. The progenitor program. They were putting him in stasis until humanity needed them. There had been a war coming. Or was there already a war? His memories were fuzzy, like trying to see through fog. The pod hissed and opened. Kane fell forward onto cold metal floor, coughing up the stasis fluid. His enhanced lungs cleared quickly, one of the many improvements the program had given him. He was stronger than any normal human, faster, smarter. They had made him to be the perfect soldier. Around him, other pods were opening. Men and women stumbled out, all of them coughing and confused. Kane recognized some faces. Commander Sarah Chen, Lieutenant Marcus Stone, Dr. Yuki Tanaka, his team, his family. Mother, Chen called out, her voice rough from disuse. Report, why have we been awakened? The artificial intelligence's voice echoed through the chamber. Commander Chen, welcome back. I apologize for the extended stasis period. There was a malfunction in the awakening protocols. You have been asleep for 600 years. Silence. Complete silence. Kane felt his stomach drop. 600 years? Marcus whispered. That's impossible. We were supposed to sleep for 10 years maximum. 20 in an emergency. Confirmed, Mother said. Awakening systems failed. I was unable to revive you until emergency protocols activated 3 hours ago. Chen stood up, water dripping from her short black hair. What emergency? I have detected a transmission that matches extinction-level parameters. I am required to wake all progenitor soldiers if humanity faces extinction. I will play the transmission now. Elena Voss's face appeared on screens around the chamber. Kane watched as the woman, bleeding and dying, gave her final message. He watched as she declared herself the last human. He listened as she said goodbye to a species that no longer existed. When the message ended, no one spoke. Dr. Tanaka was crying silently. Marcus had his hand over his mouth, his eyes wide. Chen just stared at the empty screen. Kane felt something break inside him. They had been created to protect humanity. That was their entire purpose. They were weapons designed to keep humans safe. And they had slept through humanity's extinction. Mother, Chen finally said, show us everything. All historical records from the past 600 years. For the next 3 hours, the 500 super soldiers watched their species die. They saw Earth burn. They saw the colonies fall. They watched 200 years of desperate war condensed into hours of footage. They saw brave stands and terrible losses. They saw humans fighting until the very end. We failed, Kane said quietly. We were supposed to protect them. That's what we were made for. We didn't fail, Chen said, her voice hard. We were betrayed. She pulled up a file from Mother's archives. It was marked with the highest security classification. Chen's enhanced mind cracked the encryption in seconds. What she found made everyone in the room go very still. The progenitor program had been ordered terminated 2 years after they had entered stasis. Some government committee had decided super soldiers were too dangerous. They couldn't control people like Kane and his team, so they had sabotaged the awakening protocols, planning to let them sleep forever. Humanity had killed its own defenders because they were afraid of them, and then when the real war came, when the Jothic Dominion attacked, there was no one strong enough to stop them. We could have saved them, Marcus said, his voice breaking. If they had woken us up, we could have changed everything. Chen stood in the center of the chamber. All eyes turned to her. She had always been their leader, the one who made the hard calls. "Listen to me," she said. "All of you. We failed to protect them. We can't change that. But we can do something else. We can avenge them. The Zothic Dominion thinks humanity is dead. Let them keep thinking that. We're going to hit them so hard they'll wish they never heard the word human." "There's 500 of us," Tanaka said. "Against billions. Maybe trillions." "Yes," Chen agreed. "And every single one of us is worth 1,000 of them. We're stronger. We're faster. We're smarter. And we have something they don't. We have nothing left to lose." Kane stood up. His body felt strange, more powerful than he remembered. The stasis had preserved them perfectly. They were biological immortals designed to live forever, which meant they would have to live forever with the knowledge that they had failed. "What's the plan?" he asked. Chen smiled, but it was not a happy smile. "We gather information. We find their weak points. We hit their supply lines, their bases, their leadership. We make them hurt. And while we're doing that, we find out if there are any more humans in stasis pods like we were." "Mother, are there other progenitor facilities?" "Unknown," Mother replied. "My network connection was severed 600 years ago. I have no data on other facilities." "Then we find out," Chen said. "We wake up every sleeping human we can find. We build an army, and we make the Dominion pay for what they did." Kane looked around at his fellow soldiers. They were all nodding. Good, they had a purpose again. "One more thing," Chen added. Elena Voss said something in her message. She said humanity wasn't about biology. It was about ideals, about refusing to give up, about believing tomorrow could be better. If we're going to be the last humans, we need to remember that. We're not just weapons. We're the keepers of everything humanity believed in. And if we're the keepers, Marcus said quietly, then humanity isn't really extinct, is it? Chen nodded. Exactly. Now let's get to work. The Dominion thinks they won. Let's show them they made a big mistake. As the super soldiers began preparing for war, none of them noticed something in Mother's code. A hidden subroutine that had activated with the emergency protocols. It was sending a signal, deep into unexplored space to coordinates no one had visited in 1,000 years. Something out there received the signal, something old and patient, something that had been waiting for a very long time, but that was a problem for later. Right now, 500 immortal super soldiers had a galaxy to save and a species to avenge. The Zothic Dominion was about to learn a hard lesson. Humans were dangerous when they were alive, but humanity's weapons were far more dangerous when they had nothing left to lose. 3 months had passed since the progenitors woke to find themselves alone. Kane stood on the hull of a stolen Dominion transport ship, watching a planet burn below. Not literally burning, but the factories on its surface glowed like wounds in the dark. "Target confirmed," Marcus said through the communication link. "This is Processing Center 77 Beta. They refine metals here for the Dominion war fleet." "Any civilians?" Kane asked. "Negative. Pure industrial. Workers are all automated drones." "Good." Kane didn't want to kill civilians, even alien ones. That wasn't what humans did. That wasn't what they had fought for. Execute the plan. Below, 12 of his team members slipped through the factory's defenses like ghosts. The Dominion security systems were good, but they were designed to stop normal soldiers, not superhumans who could think faster, move quicker, and interface directly with technology through their neural implants. Marcus was the best at that last part. His enhanced brain could hack into almost any system. Within minutes, the factory's main reactor went critical. Not enough to explode, just enough to melt down and become useless. The team extracted before alarms even started. No casualties. No witnesses. Just another mysterious malfunction in the Dominion's industrial network. It was their 23rd successful operation. The Dominion still thought they were dealing with pirates or rebels from one of their conquered species. They had no idea humans were involved. Back at their hidden base, an asteroid they had hollowed out and turned into a fortress, Kane reported to Commander Chen. "The factory is gone," he said. "That's another 10,000 tons of refined metals they won't be getting this quarter." Chen nodded, studying the tactical displays. "Good. Dr. Tanaka, what's the status on the stasis pods we found?" Tanaka smiled, and it was the first real smile Kane had seen on her face since they woke up. "We successfully revived another 1,000 colonists. They're confused and scared, but alive. That brings our total human population to 6,412. 6,000 humans in a galaxy of trillions. But it was 6,000 more than there had been 3 months ago. They had found the colonists in hidden facilities on dead worlds, frozen before the final war, forgotten in the chaos. "There's something else," Marcus said, bringing up a holographic display. "I've been diving deep into the Dominion's networks. I found something interesting. The Jothic leadership has been lying to their own people." "Explain," Chen said. "The Dominion is 6 species, right? But only one of them actually runs things." "The Jothic. The other 5 think they're equal partners, but they're not. They're controlled. And here's the thing. The Jothic started the war with humanity because we were spreading ideas. Ideas about freedom and equality. Ideas that threatened their control." Kane felt something cold in his chest. "So we died because of our ideals." "Yes," Marcus said. "But those same ideals are what's going to destroy them. Look at this. I've been planting information in their networks. Evidence of the lies. Some of the other species are starting to ask questions." Chen leaned forward. "Can we use that?" "Maybe, but there's more. I found records of other species. 3 that the Dominion integrated peacefully according to their history books. But the real files tell a different story. They were exterminated just like humanity. The Dominion has a pattern. Any species that gets too advanced or spreads dangerous ideas gets eliminated." The room went quiet. Kane thought about Elena Voss's last message, about how she hoped humanity's ideals would survive. Maybe they could. Maybe that was the real weapon. "We need to change our strategy," he said. Everyone looked at him. "We've been hitting military targets, supply lines." "That's good. But it's not enough. We need to make the Dominion's people turn on their leadership." "Psychological warfare," Chen said, nodding slowly. "Show them what their leaders really are." "More than that," Kane said. "We need to show them what humanity was. What we believed in. We need to spread Elena's message. Let every species in the Dominion see it. Let them decide if we deserve to die." Over the next week, they prepared. Marcus created a virus that would bypass every security system in the Dominion network. Dr. Tanaka helped prepare new medical facilities for more colonists they hoped to find. Kane trained the newly awakened civilians in basic survival skills. On the 7th day, they struck 12 Dominion core worlds simultaneously. Not military strikes. Information strikes. Every screen, every communication device, every public display suddenly showed Elena Voss's final message. Then they showed more. Human music. Human art, human philosophy. They showed footage of human children playing. They showed humans helping each other after disasters. They showed humanity at its best and its most vulnerable. And they showed what the Dominion had done. The burned worlds, the massacred colonies, the systematic extermination of an entire species whose only crime was believing everyone deserved freedom. The reaction was immediate and explosive. Some Dominion citizens were angry, claiming it was propaganda, but others started asking questions. If humanity was really such a threat, why did they have to show children playing to make them seem scary? If the war was justified, why had their leaders lied about so many things? The Jothic leadership tried to suppress the information. Too late, it was everywhere, and more importantly, the other Dominion species were now looking at their Jothic partners with suspicion. "We've cracked the surface," Chen said, watching the reports flood in. "Now we need to drive the wedge deeper." But the Dominion wasn't stupid. They knew someone was behind this. Someone who knew humanity intimately. Someone with advanced technology and training. The Jothic High Command made a decision. They sent for their most dangerous weapon, a hunter who had personally exterminated 3 species. His name translated roughly to bringer of endings, but Dominion soldiers called him the Hunt Master. His orders were simple. Find whoever was spreading human propaganda, kill them. Make an example that would terrify anyone else thinking about rebellion. The Hunt Master accepted the mission. He had killed entire species before. Whoever these ghosts were, they would fall like all the others. He did not know he was hunting humanity's ultimate weapons. He did not know that these weren't normal humans but super soldiers with 600 years of advanced technology. He did not know that they had nothing to lose and everything to avenge. Kane was in his quarters when the alert came. "Commander, we have a problem. Dominion scanners just detected our last operation's escape route. They're sending someone after us." "Who?" Kane asked. Marcus pulled up a file. "Someone called the Hunt Master. According to these records, he's never failed a hunt." Kane smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. "Good," he said. "Let him come. It's time the Dominion learned that humans don't just lie down and die. Even when we're extinct, we still fight back. The war was about to get very personal, and the Huntmaster was about to learn why humanity had been considered so dangerous, not because they were strong, but because they absolutely refused to quit. The Huntmaster was patient. He had tracked Kane's team for 6 weeks, following the smallest clues. A energy signature here, a supply theft there. He was getting close. He could feel it. His ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel near a frontier outpost. According to his intelligence, the humans would strike here next. It was a minor target, barely defended. Perfect for the ghosts he was hunting. He was right. 3 days later, sensors detected unauthorized movement in the outpost's lower levels. The Huntmaster smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. Finally, Kane knew it was a trap the moment they entered the outpost. The defenses were too weak, the guards too few. Someone wanted them here. "We should leave," Marcus said through the communication link. "This smells wrong." "Too late," Kane replied. "We're already surrounded. I count 40 hostiles, all equipped with heavy weapons. And something else. Something big." The Huntmaster stepped into the corridor. He was massive, nearly 3 meters tall, covered in armor that looked organic. His 4 eyes fixed on Kane with interest. "Human," the Huntmaster said in surprisingly good standard language. "I have hunted your kind before. You die like anything else." "You hunted civilians," Kane said. "Colonists and refugees. I'm different. We shall see." The Huntmaster attacked with incredible speed. Kane barely dodged the first strike. The second caught him in the ribs, cracking his enhanced armor. He rolled, fired his weapon, but the Huntmaster's armor absorbed the blast. They fought through the outpost, destroying walls and equipment. Kane's team tried to help, but the other Dominion soldiers kept them busy. This was between Kane and the Huntmaster. Kane was stronger than any normal human. He was faster, tougher, designed to be the perfect warrior. But the Huntmaster had experience. He had killed thousands of beings. He knew every trick, every weakness. Kane felt his left arm break, then his ribs. The Huntmaster was winning. But Kane had one advantage the Huntmaster didn't expect. He was willing to lose. Kane let the Huntmaster grab him, pulling him close. Then he activated the explosive charge he had hidden in his armor. The blast sent them both flying, fire and smoke filling the corridor. When the smoke cleared, both of them were down. Kane's armor was shredded, his body bleeding from a dozen wounds. But his enhanced healing was already starting to work. The Huntmaster lay nearby, his armor cracked, one leg twisted at a wrong angle. Kane stood up slowly. Every movement hurt. He walked to the Huntmaster and pointed his weapon at the alien's head. "Wait," the Huntmaster said. Blood leaked from his mouth. "You won. Kill me. Complete your victory." Kane looked at him for a long moment. Then he lowered his weapon. "No," Kane said. "Humanity didn't fight for 200 years just to become like you. We believed everyone deserved a chance, even our enemies. You would show me mercy?" The Huntmaster sounded confused. "Why?" "Because that's what humans do," Kane said. "We choose to be better than our worst impulses. Your leaders told you we were dangerous. They were right. But not because we were violent. Because our ideas were infectious: freedom, equality, second chances. Those ideas spread, and your leaders couldn't control people who believed in them." The Huntmaster was silent for a moment. Then he started laughing, a wet, painful sound. "Fascinating," he said. "I have killed 3 species, seen 100 more. Never have I encountered a species that would spare the one sent to destroy them. Perhaps the Jothic were right to fear you." Kane helped the Huntmaster up. "Come with me. Meet Commander Chen. Hear the full story. Then decide for yourself if we deserve to be exterminated." 3 days later, the Huntmaster sat in Chen's office, his leg in a medical brace. He had listened to everything, watched all the historical records, seen the evidence of the Jothic lies. "I served them for 70 years, he said quietly. "Killed in their name, believed their cause was just, and it was all lies." "It's not too late to make different choices," Chen said. "What would you have me do?" "Go back. Tell your people the truth. You have influence. Use it. Help us break the Dominion apart from within. The Huntmaster was quiet for a long time. Finally, he nodded. I cannot undo what I have done, but perhaps I can prevent more death. I will help you, humans. But know this. The Jothic will not surrender easily. They will call for reinforcements. They have allies in the dark spaces, things worse than me. Let them come, Chen said. We've already survived extinction. What's a little more danger? 6 months later, the galaxy had changed. The Huntmaster had kept his word. 12 Dominion worlds had rebelled, refusing to follow Jothic orders. The colonists had grown to 500,000, awakened from stasis pods found on dozens of hidden worlds. The super soldiers had trained the best of them, creating a real army. And then the sensors detected something impossible. Commander, Marcus said, his voice strange. You need to see this. Long-range scanners are picking up a massive fleet approaching from unexplored space. The configuration is, it's human. Chen rushed to the command center. On the screens, hundreds of ships appeared. They were old designs from humanity's golden age before the wars. Massive warships that dwarfed anything the Dominion had. This is Fleet Command Unit Apollo, a voice said over the communication system. We have been on a 1,000-year exploration mission. We have completed our task and returned home. Please identify yourself and provide current status of Earth and the colonial network. Chen felt tears on her face. She hadn't cried since Elena's message. But this was different. This was hope. Apollo, she said. This is Commander Sarah Chen. I'm sorry, but I have bad news. Earth is gone. The colonies are gone. Humanity was exterminated 600 years ago by an alliance called the Jothic Dominion. Silence. It stretched for almost a full minute. Clarify, Apollo said. Are you human? Yes and no, Chen said. We're progenitors, super soldiers created before the war. We were in stasis. We're all that's left. Analyzing biological data. You are genetically modified, but your base genome is human. You qualify as humanity's legitimate descendants. Commander Chen, Fleet Command Unit Apollo requests orders. What are your commands? Chen looked at Kane, at Marcus, at Tanaka, at all, her people who had fought so hard to keep humanity's memory alive. Then she looked at the Huntmaster, who had chosen to join them rather than stay with lies. Apollo, she said, humanity is not extinct, not while we still carry their dreams. I need you to help us finish what they started. Are you with us? Affirmative, Commander. Fleet Apollo is at your command. All ships report ready for combat operations. Where do you want us to hit them? Chen smiled. Everywhere. It's time to show the Dominion what happens when you try to kill humanity. We don't die. We just come back stronger. The war for the galaxy was about to begin, and this time humanity had an army. The Jothic homeworld had never been attacked before. For 1,000 years it had been the center of their power, the heart of the Dominion, untouchable, until today. Kane stood on the bridge of the Apollo flagship watching the planet grow larger on the screens. Around them, hundreds of ancient human warships moved in perfect formation. Below on the surface, Dominion defense forces scrambled to respond. All ships report ready, Apollo said. Awaiting your orders, Major Kane. Chen had put Kane in charge of the ground assault. She would command the space battle. It was fitting. They had both come so far from the confused soldiers who woke in the dark. Begin the assault, Kane said. The battle was massive. The Dominion threw everything they had at the human fleet. Thousands of ships, weapons that could burn planets. Defenses that had held for centuries. It wasn't enough. The Apollo ships were from humanity's golden age, built with technology the Dominion had never seen. Their shields absorbed fire that would have destroyed normal vessels. Their weapons cut through Dominion armor like paper, but Chen didn't want to destroy the planet. That wasn't the plan. All ships precision strikes only, she ordered. Target military installations and government buildings. Avoid civilian areas. We're not here to commit genocide. We're here to end this. Kane's team dropped onto the planet's surface. 200 super soldiers against a planet of billions. The odds were insane, but they had trained for this. They were ready. They fought through the capital city, moving toward the central government complex. The Jothic soldiers fought hard. They were defending their home. Kane could respect that even as he fought them. In space, Chen's fleet had surrounded the planet. The Dominion's fleet was broken, scattered. Ships that had terrorized hundreds of worlds now floated as wreckage in orbit. "This is Commander Sarah Chen of Humanity to the Jathic High Command," she broadcast on all frequencies. "We have defeated your fleet. We have breached your defenses. We could burn your world to ash like you did to Earth, but we won't, because we're not you. We're giving you one chance. Surrender. Face trial for genocide. Let the galaxy decide your fate. Or we can keep fighting and everyone loses." In the government complex, Kane and his team reached the command chamber. The Jathic leaders were there, surrounded by their elite guards. Old beings who had ordered the death of billions. The guards attacked. The battle was brief and brutal. Kane's team was simply better. Within minutes, the guards were down. The leaders stood alone, facing the humans they had tried to erase. "You should kill us," the High Commander said. "We destroyed your species. We would show you no mercy." "I know," Kane said. "But here's the thing. Humanity didn't survive 200 years of war because we were the strongest. We survived because we believed tomorrow could be better than today. Because we believed everyone deserved a chance to change. Even you." "You're naive," the High Commander said. "Mercy is weakness." "Maybe," Kane said. "But that's what makes us human. We choose to be better than our worst impulses. You can choose too. Stand trial. Face the species you've lied to. Let them decide, or we can end this here and you die like cowards." The High Commander looked at Kane for a long time. Finally, slowly, he dropped his weapon. "I do not understand you," he said, "but I will accept your terms." 3 months later, the galaxy watched as the Jathic leaders stood trial. Not just human witnesses, but members of all 6 Dominion species. Evidence was presented. The lies were exposed. The genocides revealed. The verdict was unanimous. Guilty. But the sentence was not death. It was service. The guilty would spend their remaining lives working to rebuild what they had destroyed, making amends that could never be complete, but had to be attempted anyway. The Dominion was dissolved. A new council was formed, with representatives from all species. The super soldiers were offered leadership positions, but Chen declined. "We're not meant to rule," she told the council. "We're protectors, guardians. Let us do what we were made for." The 500 immortal soldiers spread across the galaxy. Some became teachers, sharing human knowledge and ideals. Some became explorers, seeking new worlds and new species. Some became peacekeepers, ensuring no species would face extinction again. Kane chose a different path. He became a memory keeper. 1 year after the final battle, he stood in a massive memorial built on a neutral world. The walls were covered with names. Every human who had died in the wars. Billions of names. At the center was a statue of Elena Voss, humanity's last natural-born human, dying but defiant. Her final message played on loop. Visitors from 100 species came to hear it, to learn about the species that had refused to accept extinction, that had come back from death itself to prove their ideals mattered. Kane taught classes there. Not about war or weapons, but about what it meant to be human, about choosing kindness over cruelty, about believing tomorrow could be better, about standing up even when falling was easier. One day, a group of children visited. Humans, Jathic, and a dozen other species, all learning together. One of them, a small Jathic child, raised her hand. "Teacher Kane," she asked, "what does it mean to be human? My parent was one of the bad leaders. Does that mean I can never be like you?" Kane knelt down to her level. "Being human was never about biology," he said. "It was about choices. Every day you choose. Be kind or cruel. Hope or despair. Stand or fall. Your parent made bad choices, but you can make different ones. That's what makes us human, not where we came from, but where we choose to go." "Can I be human too?" she asked. "Even though I'm Jathic?" Kane smiled. "You already are. Because you asked that question. Because you want to be better. That's the most human thing there is." Later, Kane stood alone in the memorial looking at Elena's statue. He thought about that last message, about how she hoped humanity's ideals would survive. "We did it," he said quietly. "We kept the dream alive. Humanity isn't extinct. It's just different now, bigger. Spread across 100 species. You'd be proud." Across the galaxy on 1,000 worlds, children learned Earth stories. They sang human songs. They studied human philosophy. And they tried every day to live up to the ideals that had been worth dying for. Humanity was gone. But humanity's legacy lived on. In the super soldiers who would never die. In the species they had inspired. In the galaxy, they had changed forever. Cain had been created to be a weapon, a tool of destruction, but Elena's message had taught him something important. The greatest weapon humanity ever created wasn't super soldiers or ancient warships. It was hope. The simple, stubborn belief that tomorrow could be better. That was what made humans dangerous. That was what the Dominion had really feared. And now that hope belonged to everyone, human and alien alike, a legacy that would never die as long as someone, somewhere, believed the galaxy could be better. Cain looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, his fellow soldiers were teaching, protecting, exploring, keeping humanity's dream alive in their own ways. They had been made to be weapons. But they had chosen to be something more. They had chosen to be human. And that choice would echo through the galaxy for all time.